The Minnesota Masonic Children's Clinic for Communication Disorders presents Tips from Tamara.
Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about books as gifts. We would all love our children to be literate and excited about reading. And as language learners or someone who has a difficulty with language, either receptive and expressive or combined, books can be an important way to share our language as communication with them. So some tips and tricks that I have learned is that for our early language learners, something that might not be as intuitive to you could be different ways to present a book. So a typical way we might think of reading a book to a child is having them sit next to us or sitting on our lap, and that can be wonderful and enjoyable. But if you want to help them focus on what you're saying or how you're saying it, it might also be fun to do it more of a teacher style and face your child. And of course, it doesn't have to be them sitting in a chair or you're sitting up in a chair and them sitting on the floor, but you could be both on the floor, just to be able to see each other. Board books are a good way to go. This is a realistic pictures, or it could be fun animals. You could also have flap books. A lift the flap is some kind of a fun surprise where a child can reach in and peekaboo and have something to do with the book. There's also some books with like, dials or movable pieces, and that can be another way to really engage with the book for a early learner who needs something to do rather than just use their auditory and listen. So that's something to do. Some other things to keep in mind with our early language learners are to not worry about reading every word on every page. Focus on what they're interested in, kind of let them lead the book, where if they want to open to the middle and see the sheep because they love the sheep, or if they want to keep going back to the cow, that's great. So letting them lead through it, but still being part of it. Also, for a more complex book, you can go through and talk about what you see, but not worrying about the words on the page necessarily, and talking about boys on the couch or doing a puzzle. Oh, puzzle. My favorite one is a little girl that I'm working with now. She looked at this and said, truck. And I said, yeah, dump truck. And so we didn't read the words on the page, but we were very much engaged with each other and sharing the knowledge that we both had. So that can be lots of fun. For our more complex language learners, books can open a whole new world of abstract thinking. So some of the strategies that I've done and some strategies that I've done have been to read the story, but pause and ask questions. Make your own predictions. Ask the child to make a prediction about what will happen next. Talk about the feelings or the faces that you see on the page. Ooh, how does he feel about that? Also, to get more complex, talk about the illustrations and do they help tell the story? A lot of times, some very creative illustrators out there that really make the story come alive. Now, for both early language learners and more complex language learners, a great tip is to use your acting chops. For early language learners especially, sound effects can be really interesting. You might read this story and say, Cookie Monster eats an orange carrot. Nom, 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 nom. And then this is like a repeating idea book where then Elmo eats a red apple. Nom, 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 nom. And that can be really interesting. But you can also use sound effects for more complex language learners. You can ask them what they think it would sound like. The door opens. Ooh, how did that sound? Great. Or there's a lot of onomatopoeia, and you can talk about that. And oh yeah, crash. Crash is a sound word, or that might come up in the story. So it's really important to do that. Other ways to use your acting is to use different voices that can help differentiate between the characters and also just create some humor. And also, for working on more narrative structure, you can have your child read you the story to work on story retell and narrative. Some other things that can be interesting in those kinds of stories could be to use familiar characters. So putting familiar characters from like TV shows in new situations through the books. Using familiar characters to just learn vocabulary or to take turns, like in almost like a game. This is like a Where's Waldo type of book. So I hope that this helps you when you're considering buying books for your child. As always, it is individual choice for what you think your child is interested in, but also just thinking about different things you can do to help expand your child's language through the world of books. Thank you.